Well, welcome to the UKBC where budgies come first. And today we are coming to see Douglas Bremner, one of our members, one of the early members, I think, as well.
Yeah.
First to sort of jump on the wagon, as they say. So we're here today. I've travelled up to see him for his aviary and just sort of show how to set up a small garden aviary. And we're going to just go through bits and pieces. So welcome, Doug.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you for asking me to come and do an interview.
Not a problem. So, how did you get into birds?
Well, about 11 years ago, I went to a family party at my brother's. And after meeting all the family, I noticed my brother had an aviary.
Yeah.
And I went over and had a look, and he had finches and budgies, cockatiels, and I just walked up and had a look, and he came over and said, "Do you want to pop inside?" You know, and we went inside, and he said he had babies and baby finches and all that, and yeah, it was quite interesting. And at that time, he was colony breeding,
Right.
and he said he had to watch because the hens going in nest boxes, killing chicks and that. And I thought, oh, you know. Anyway, yeah, we left that day, and before I left, he said, "If you're interested, I could sell you 4 budgies."
Yeah.
And a cage for £50. He said, "Let me know." And I think about 3 or 4 months later, we went back and we got these 4 budgies.
Oh, lovely.
And we kept them inside. They were different parents' budgies. We kept them inside for a year, and then we thought, oh well, they're starting to get a bit used to each other, and we built an aviary over in that side, and I brought a shed and some aviary panels, and that was it. We started from there.
Yeah.
A few nest boxes up, and away we went.
And looking at your setup now, which we'll look at later, but from that first aviary, what mistakes did you make building that you could look back on now?
Looking back now, and the position it was in, because it sloped, when it rained hard, the water just ran down underneath the shed.
Yeah.
And the flight was continuously wet and slimy, and in the end it come to the stage where I thought, no, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
So what we done, we got all the birds in cages, and we went to the other end of the garden, built a base, moved the shed over, moved all the panels over, and redone it again.
Yeah. It is amazing.
It was a lot better.
Yeah, it's amazing how without any guidance you do make those mistakes.
Oh
don't you?
yeah.
You know, before we started the recording, you know, we've said about the base of the aviary. It's so important.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
It's so important. You know, and I see so many soil aviaries that aren't maintained. There are some that are maintained.
Yeah.
You know, and we notice you've got concrete, so it's a lot easier to keep clean, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, every weekend that gets washed down.
Yeah.
Every weekend gets washed down with poultry shield. I mean, the walls are sprayed with mite spray.
Yeah.
I mean, the back end of all that aviary now is all plastic. So it's just spray it and wipe it all down.
Yeah. I've done much the same with my walls. And,
yeah. And that's an outside aviary.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it proves you can do it.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
you could have all plastic walls on an outside aviary. Makes your job much easier.
Yeah.
Cleans it. Less chance of mites hanging about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that gets washed down every weekend with poultry shield. That I've got to buy some more.
And I think I've learned as well, and from visiting people, you know, even people like yourself, that if you make something easy and quick to do, you're more likely to do it.
Yeah.
If you've got to spend hours scrubbing something because it's wood or it's got crevices in it that don't stay clean, I think you end up thinking, oh, I can't be bothered, and that's when the problems start, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a problem, and the trouble is that it gets dirty during the year.
Yeah.
So by time, February, March, I'm in there and I'm redoing all the paintwork again.
Yeah.
Repainting all the way and spraying it again. Make sure it's spotless for the new breeding season.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
If you get into sort of a session where you can say, yeah, well, this has got to be done every day.
Yeah.
You get into a routine.
Yeah, that's
and you
right.
stick to that routine, then you're not going to have many problems.
No,
But
no.
once you start moving away from that routine, then you're going to have a lot of problems.
I think red mite. I've been in touch with a member this week, and she's got red mite for the first time. And I said, well, you've now got to look at it that you've got them, and you will have them now.
Yeah.
Not necessarily forever, but you know, until you've got to get into that routine of cleaning and spotting the birds or treating the birds. So yeah,
Yeah, well,
that's good.
Yesterday I just had my first lot of check mite and clear to come in, but I still need the poultry seal for the floor.
Yeah, I mean, you can use the check mite.
No, just both of them.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I spray my check mite round every weekend. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Again, it just keeps on top of things, doesn't
I mean, mostly it's the roost area where you got little gaps in between, and if you keep just spray that all over, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to beat it. Yeah.
Okay, so so we can have a look at your feed as we go round, can we? You store your feed in the shed, so we'll have a look at that. Okay, great. Okay, so this is Doug's setup. Lovely little aviary, and we've got obviously hot weather today, so the door's wide open, and there's the birds with some breeding cages in there. And what I'm really interested in actually is the way that the aviary is actually built onto the concrete plinth, because like I said earlier, you know, there's a lot of people who don't maintain the floors and things of their aviaries, and they get into a bit of a mess. So what Doug's done here is he's built up the concrete pad, so he's away from the grass, and then put the wood on, and he's just said that there's a small hole which he leaves between wood and concrete that lets all the water out as he brushes. It can all flow out just out onto the grass, which is ideal, because again, you know, you've scrubbed and brushed, you don't want to leave it in puddles if you can avoid it. So yeah, ideal way. And then obviously we got the door, which has got the floor on, and that door in there leads to his outside aviary. And there you can see there's the concrete pad, and the floor in the aviary hasn't got the wooden floor. That is just directly onto the concrete. So yeah, ideal. Splash his poultry shield around and give it a good scrub. Okay, so we're going to have a look at what Doug feeds and his sort of daily routine now. And it does look like you're about the right size for the door. I think I might have to bend in half, but we'll see how we go. But
well,
okay.
Before you come in, I'm going to have to unlock this door, so lock us in.
Yeah, we're going to get locked in, because obviously he's got a system of doors that will save birds becoming...
Might get a bit dark.
Escape.
We'll lock this door, and we will open this door.
Yeah. So if any birds escape now, they
and
can
then
only go from one
we're
bit
into
to
the flight area.
Hello, birdies.
Do that. Lock that off. Lock that off. Well, this is my flight area.
Yeah.
Most of these are adults. None of these are babies, they're all adults. Some are rescues.
Yeah.
I think I've got a big grey boy here that I rescued that was getting attacked by magpies.
Oh dear.
He's sitting around here somewhere. Oh, there he is, up here. I think he's a bit of an exhibition type bird.
Yeah, looks a little bit bigger, doesn't he, with a bit more feather?
Yeah. But this is the water feeders.
Yeah.
They've already emptied onto the floor.
Yeah. Probably had a bath first thing.
2 seed containers.
Yeah.
That one there, that one there.
Yeah, and do you have the same in the babies, which obviously we'll have a look at in a minute?
Yes.
So they're all used to the same
Yes,
feeders?
there is a a feeder in there for the seed, and also a water container in there, so they know where to go.
Yeah, and we got 3 little pots.
And we got 3 little pots. In there is greens, in there is egg food, and in there is oyster shell.
Yeah, rightio.
And a stick that they sometimes eat.
Oh. Yeah, they can take it or leave it, so that's, you know, that's up to them, isn't it?
Cuttlefish and these things that...
Iodine blocks.
They're all right for pecking at, but other than that, nothing else really any good.
No. Okay, so seed-wise then, what are you feeding at the moment?
Seed-wise, we have the Sally Lager in there. And that.
Yeah, so what have we got? We got a mixture of millets, canary, a few other little bits and pieces. But no, that looks a lovely clean mix.
Yep.
Yeah.
I usually get that from my pet shop. I normally get two large sacks, 20 kilogram sacks, and it'll fill that up. So yeah, and that's the thing. In the bottom one, we have all bits and bobs, more egg food.
Yeah.
Not sand sheets.
Yeah.
We have some mealworm. Well, there was mealworms in there, and that's it.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to check on that egg food because I don't know if it's going to be in date now.
Yeah, you got to keep on top of these things, haven't you?
It. Yeah, I have to keep checking.
Okay, so I mean, to me this is quite an unusual setup for me, and it's obviously working for you because obviously you've got your breeding cages in with stock flying around. Now, I would have thought that would cause your hens stress and maybe cause problems with the nest box, but clearly it hasn't, because you're breeding some lovely youngsters.
Well, no, I think in the beginning I put these nest boxes in the roost area, and they weren't happy at all.
No, it's a bit dark.
It was a bit dark, a bit warm. So I made these 2
little benches
out of an old pallet, and I set them up here. I mean, the breeding cages at the moment are absolutely past their sell-by date because they're about 8 years old. So new ones for next year, and not only that, these trays, when they get wet, they swell.
Yeah.
And you have big problems getting them in and out.
Yeah.
So
and how many youngsters have you bred this year so far?
At the moment, I think I've had 24.
Right.
And that I've got a new chicken there. I think there's a new chicken there with Mum. You have to use the nest box. There she is.
Oh, wonderful! Look at that. Yeah, couple of addled eggs. If people haven't seen addled eggs, I'm not sure whether you'll pick it up on the camera, but those 2 darker ones are more than likely addled.
Yeah.
We all get them. It's a bane of my life. But you can see the others are going to hatch. They'll be lovely because they're nice, clear, almost like porcelain white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do get some.
And there's Dad. Looks like a yellow face spangle.
Yeah.
Yellow face spangle, sky blue.
I'm not sure. I think Mum might be a
no, Mum's a sky blue.
A sky blue.
Yeah. And this cage sat here on its own is your weaning cage, I believe.
Yeah,
is it?
that is it. They once I see them feeding on their own.
Yeah, with Mum and Dad and transfer.
Then I transfer them over. Because you never know, Mum and Dad might have more eggs sitting in there.
Yeah, but I think it's a brilliant way of doing it though. I do much the same on a slightly bigger scale. But you know, if you let these babies just go straight out into the aviary and things, sometimes they're just not quite strong enough, and you want to know that they're feeding, don't you? So it's
and not
a good
only
way
that,
of doing it.
I just want to make sure they can fly about and
that's right.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're nice dishes. I mean, these get cleaned out. They'll be get taken out tomorrow and they'll be washed off again.
Yeah, yeah, I've got the same drinkers actually on my big flights.
Yeah.
And I just swap them out every day. So.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can see your plastic sheet on the back there, all screwed in along there.
Yeah.
I think it is. It's an ideal way of doing it. It's so much easier.
Yeah, and you can. I mean, you've only got to spray it. I mean, it keeps it nice and clean. If they pull on it, you just wipe it off.
Yeah.
It's the same as the wall, really. I mean.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I can do the same now. I mean, I just clean it off. The 2 holes there are ready when they go in there in the winter. Most of them will be going back out there in the winter in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once a lot of the babies are gone, I'll just open that up and all the budgies will be together.
And the rope you've got, do you change that quite regularly, or?
No, this has been in there for a couple of years now.
Oh, right.
I mean, they do peck at it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only boat rope.
Yeah.
I got off eBay, but as you notice, I don't have much of a wooden purchase in here.
No.
Because with so many in there, they would just destroy them.
Yeah. But to be honest, their feet look in very good condition. I can't see any really long nails.
No. Well, they come down on the floor, I mean.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And one of my main things in the morning, I mean, it might sound a bit daft, but I just walk around every morning and check their bum.
Yeah.
Make sure there's nothing stuck, and then I go around and check all the sears, make sure there's no scalies going on, nothing. Yeah. But they all look fine.
Yeah. And what do you use for your scaly mite, or just regular treatment?
Yeah, Vermicin and that moxidectin and all that. Yeah, that goes in the water.
Yeah.
Touch wood. I haven't had scaly for about 3 years.
No. Scaly's one of the easiest things to eradicate, really. The mites are something we've spoken about. If you've got to keep in that routine, and you'll stay on top of it. It's as simple as that.
If you don't stay on the top of it, then you're going to have problems. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
And I find some of these toys and things are the first ones to show up when you got mite. If you move these bits occasionally, sometimes you find them in between. Yeah,
they get sprayed as well. So
yeah. Should we have a look at the babies then? If I come round here. Yeah,
we can go around here. Would you like me to open the door?
No, I think we're so hot today. I think we'll see if I can get focused on some of them. There we go. So yeah, so are there any that you're not sure on the mutations or anything, or?
Well, I know the 2 yellow ones are lutinos because they've got red eyes.
Yeah.
And Dad's. The only one I'm not sure. The only ones I'm really not sure is the greenish one there. I'm not sure whether that's an opaline.
Yeah, I mean, my camera's not. Sorry, people, my camera's not doing as it says. The green with the sort of dark wings. To me, I mean, it looks like an opaline.
Cinnamon?
No, it won't be cinnamon, but it looks like an opaline grey wing. Yeah. But I'm not quite sure whether it might be golden face.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which obviously changes the body colour. Yeah. One next to it's an opaline spangle. And the rest are sort of normals and
there's the opaline violet there, the boy.
Yeah.
Back to us.
Yeah, it'll be a nice colour when he melts.
The sky blue spangle out the back.
Yeah.
I think that's a little boy. I think the other green one out the back is an opaline. I'm not sure.
Can't quite see.
Yeah, he's got a lot of green in his wings.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And then we were just looking at a pair a minute ago before we came in and started recording that you've got a Texas clear body this year.
Yeah, I did. It's a bit of a surprise.
It's always good. I mean, the dad's a Texas clear body. I'm just gonna go and see if they're out in the cage. They weren't a second ago. Yeah. So hopefully it will
And baby's being fed.
Yeah, it's not, the light's not brilliant, fortunately. But yeah, and then we've got a mystery bird, which now looking closer is a spangle.
Yeah. So mum must be a spangle then.
Yeah, must be.
Because she's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I'm not sure whether she's got the markings, so I think her markings are a bit lighter.
Yeah, well hers, the ones here, that chick is very light and pale. I don't think it's a cinnamon because hasn't got pink feet. But
the baby green one that I was talking about into the roost there, that's mum of that dark. So I think opaline light green.
Yeah, that one certainly is an opaline light green.
Dad's a normal.
Well, it's an opaline cinnamon light green actually.
Yeah.
And then so if you've bred opalines from that pair, then Dad is also split opaline.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're only going to get hens. But
I think he's a normal grey, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I'm learning every day. I mean, when I speak to you sometimes and I say, "Oh, this is so and so," and you come back to me and say, "You've missed something out."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
And I'm thinking to myself,
what?
Well, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
But,
got to go with your gut instinct sometimes, haven't you?
Yeah. And it's funny. I think, oh my God, why? But you know you're going to get it right at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
Mutations.
Well, I mean, it is amazing because having now got so involved with the pet and the hobby breeders and all the rest of it, I'm seeing more and more mixed mutations.
Yeah.
I mean, we're even seeing recessive pied spangles.
Yeah.
And I've just never seen that before.
No.
You know, I didn't even know it was possible.
No.
Okay. Well, we're going to have a bit of a comfort break, and we'll be back with you guys later on.
And we'll see you later, fellas.
Brilliant. Well, that was lovely. Really nice to see us set up, on a smaller scale. Sometimes I go to these aviaries and aviary visits. I know they're slightly different with the showbirds, but it is nice to sort of get back to the roots of where it all started. And I've got to say, your birds do look really healthy. So credit to you.
Thank you.
And it's. I think that's come from you asking questions.
Yeah.
Isn't it? In the past.
If you don't ask, you're not going to learn.
Exactly.
And that. I mean, as I say, when I first started, I didn't have a clue. No. I mean, a budgie was a budgie, and it was a blue one, it was a white one, green one, and that was it. And then it wasn't until I started joining these Facebook groups. I mean, UK budgie.
Yeah, we were on the original, what I class as the original one.
Yeah, UK budgie breeders and keepers.
That's right, right, and that unfortunately got sort of shut down, didn't it, in the end?
Yeah.
But I remember, the early days when you knew there was 1,000,001 questions out there that wanted to be asked, but people were too afraid to ask, weren't they? Yeah. And then we started to break down the barriers.
And then we had Shannon's one.
Yeah, that's right.
And now I'm in another group called Budgie Buddies, where I'm one of the admins.
Yeah.
And some of the questions we ask there, we can only give advice, we're not vets.
No, that is true.
All we do is pass it on.
That's right. And I think that's where the UKBC has filled a gap, because we've now got Kevin as our avian vet. I think it's such a good resource. I mean, I'm sure he does feel the pressure with questions being bombarded, but it is such a good resource to have. And hopefully that feeds back into the hobby. For everyone that just owns a budgie, and I think before, there's just not been that information.
Yeah, I mean, so some of the questions you get asked, and you give the answer back. It's quite simple. Some of them.
It is, but to that person that didn't know.
But with someone that's just started up, it's like you say, "Have you given mite treatment?" They went, "Mite treatment."
Yeah.
AV mix, iodine drops. And they said, well, we just give them seed.
Yeah, that's it.
You know.
Yeah, and I think the realization for me was when people put a question on, is it simple as, is it a hen or a cock?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden it's got scaly face and they didn't know, and then you start the talking and then you get into the it came from a pet shop, and
yeah,
you know, and I think that again is education that is needed. Yeah, for the whole hobby, you know.
Well, I mean, we had a lady on there the other day. She brought 2 chicks and they were 3 or 4 weeks old.
Oh, crumbs! And
they weren't feeding.
No.
And we said to her, take them back, because they shouldn't be away from their parents.
No.
You shouldn't buy budgies and under 8 weeks old.
No, that's an absolute minimum.
You know, 8 weeks old. Make sure they're eating and flying.
Yeah.
You know.
And the way you do it, well, a lot of us do it, is to put them in that weaning cage. You've got control over that, haven't you?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if I don't think it's been feeding, I'll just pop it back with mum and dad.
Yeah, that's right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I noticed you've got a book there as well.
Yeah.
Looks a reasonably old one.
Yeah.
So we'll just have a. So there are books out there. Oh, that's back to front. I'll do a photograph later. But yeah, budgie cars in colour with care and breeding. So, you know, there are books out there, but unfortunately there's not much up to date. So watch this space with regards to the UKBC, because we are going to try and do mutation information and other bits and pieces. So yeah. So we said we'd chat about winter.
Yeah.
And we're sat here in 35 degree heat, and we're going to talk about winter. But I think, again, it is so important that people understand that budgies can live out in our winters.
Yes.
And you're proof of it. I know they will have their indoor part. Once your babies are settled, do you mix the adults and babies together?
Yeah, well, the ones that I have left, I mean, there are 2 holes that go in from the flight to the roost.
Yep.
If I haven't got many, they will be open, and they can all go in. I will know who the babies are because they've got me rings on. Yeah. So I know who they are. Yeah. So as long as they don't start breeding with mums and dads and that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's right. I think that's where records come into it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and I think, and we've spoken about this before as well within our admin. You know, people swapping birds as well to spread that gene pool out is ideal, even in the hobby. You know, you could give on a couple of cock birds, youngsters, and get a couple of cock birds back in, and then you're not getting those problems of breeding too close.
That's it. I mean, there's a couple in there now. I mean, they're nearly 4 years old. Yeah. So this year most will be their last year
breeding.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even if I put up breeding cages for next year and they showed interest, I just wouldn't put them into a breeding cage. No. You know, because it's not fair on them.
And how many rounds do you take off of each pair?
Twice.
Twice, yeah, 2 rounds.
Yeah, twice. It used to be 3. I think the 2 in there now, they're on their 3rd one. Yeah. Because I've been caught out with them. Because
they were too fit, were they?
They were too fit, and the babies had come out into the baby cage, and I looked up, you've got 5 eggs already. You know. So that's why their thing. But well, as I say, the once the Texas clear body, once their chicks are out into the thing, they will be released out into the flight.
Yeah. And I suppose one thing we didn't speak about was how do you feed your Avi mix? Do you put it on your seed and in your food?
Yes, I sprinkle it on the food, on the seed, on the thing. The breeding pairs, they get neutral.
Yeah, so that little bit higher.
They get that twice a week.
Yeah.
I don't try to give them because...
No, that's right. I mean, you've got to follow the instructions on these things. And it is higher calcium, vitamin D3. So, you know, it's doing what it says on the tin, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I have both in there. So, Nutriform for the breeders, Aviary mix for the rest of the flock.
Yeah.
You know, so they have it on their food. They didn't get it on their greens today because if they have sweet corn tomorrow, they can have it on that.
Yeah, It sticks so well to sweet corn and things like that, doesn't it? And they really do. I like to see people feeding it like that. That's why I put so much in my soft food, that it's complete. They eat it all, and the job's sort of done.
I do give them mixed veg.
Yeah.
But I think they're a bit picky. They pick out the carrots and the beets and just leave the peas in there.
Yeah, it sounds like my son.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the winter. So I will put some photographs up that Doug has sent me, and it will show what you do during the winter.
Yeah.
But you know, if a bird is healthy and you can keep the aviary as draft free as possible, they're quite hardy, aren't they?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had no problems. I mean, my flight, even now tonight, they will get closed in.
Right.
The flights get closed in.
Yeah.
It's not just, keep the draft out, but any more the moggies that want to come round and have a nose.
Yeah.
And they can't get into the wire then.
Yeah, because of course yours are staying out in the outside aviary at the moment, aren't they?
I mean, I've come home at night in the winter, -8, and they've been sat out there on the perches with their head tucked in behind the wings, asleep, and I'm freezing,
Yeah. But it comes down to them being healthy.
Yeah.
And definitely.
Yeah.
Do you have any heat out there at all?
None whatsoever.
No.
I've never had any heat out here at all. No.
I think sometimes I show people it's for our benefits more than the birds.
I think the birds that you will lose in the winter are the older ones.
Yeah.
And that, but as long as it's draft free and clean and dry, they're quite happy. I mean, most of my birds are out in the flight all winter anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I come out in the morning and I think, what are you all doing out here when there's a nice roost in? But they're all outside.
And I bet as soon as we get a bit of rain, if we ever get some in this heat, but they'll be clinging to the wire, won't they, bathing?
Yep. If it rains hard, they're all on the wire. You go out with a spray bottle.
And they're running the other way.
They're all gone. You know. Yeah.
No, that's it. It's,
but as I say, in the winter time, that flight will go round. I mean, its side and the front, it's all closed.
And do your covers stay on all day on the coldest days, or?
If it's really windy, stormy, then depending on which way the wind's blowing. If the wind's blowing this way, then the front cover will stay up and the side cover will come off. And vice versa. We're just giving that added protection from the cold wind.
Yeah, that's right.
And but in the winter, when it's snowing hard, then the flights will stay up. The covers will stay up.
Yeah, I think that's one of the pictures I've got is when it's snow on the ground. And covers over. So
Yeah. I protect them at all costs.
Yeah.
That has to be done.
Yeah, that's right.
It's quite funny because I come out in the morning and when I first open that first cover, I'm looking on the floor and I dread and think, don't be any on the floor, please.
No, that's right. No, you do get the odd one. I mean, I've had it. All of a sudden, you just get a bird that you missed or whatever, and it just died. But,
I mean, I had one not long ago, and he was a lovely bird, and he was a dominant pied, a violet dominant pied. And I went in there one day and I thought, oh, you've lost some tail feathers. And then his wing feathers went, and they never grew back, and he had... What's that? He had French molt.
Blimey, was he a youngster?
Yeah, I think I had him about 3 years.
Yeah,
but he'd been breeding, he had no signs of FN. And all of a sudden, where it was a stress.
Yeah, I mean, some people will call that a stress molt, where the body just sort of says, I'm not coping very well, so I'll get rid of my biggest drain, and some of the feathers are the biggest drain.
And all he used to do is run around the rope and come down for food.
Yeah.
And one morning I come out and found him dead on the floor.
Yeah, it sounds like he might have had something internal that just sort of made
it was
make
funny how we went from a perfectly healthy bird, just like that, within 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's a shame when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you change your water daily in your birds? Yeah.
Yes, every day. Yes.
Yeah. I must admit, at the moment, I'm doing it twice a day if I'm working from home.
Yeah. Yeah. They. What I do normally, I mean, it's changed this morning. Now, because it's getting warm during the day, I'll go in there and change it tonight. Yeah. So they've got fresh drinking water during the night.
That's right. Yeah.
But as you see with my bottle feeder up there with water, I filled it up this morning and it's about a quarter.
I reckon they've probably had a bath in that. Yeah, cheeky devils. Yeah. So, I mean, we obviously, you know, UKBC went to the Parrot Society weekend, and I know you don't travel that far yourself, do you, as such, but what do you think of the show that I'm going to be putting on?
Oh, brilliant. I mean, if I can get there, I'll get there.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to bring a couple of even my Texas clear body.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, no,
that's
it all depends how far it is, because I don't drive anyway.
No.
So it's quite difficult for me to get in there. I mean, the last time I went to a show was about 3 or 4 years ago, Stafford.
Yeah.
In the spring show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was just blown away.
Yeah, yeah.
I was blown away. I thought,
well, we're doing our Showbird show.
Yeah.
In October. That is London way, I think. I forget where it is. I'll put a picture up.
Maidstone?
Yes, I think that's right. There's a big sale going on.
Oh right, yeah.
And we're tagging on to that, so that should be good. But yeah, I still think, you know, the hobby breeders just miss out a little bit, and there are people that want to show. But like you say, it's going to take a while for us to build up the numbers, get the interest.
Yes.
So as far as I know, the first one will be at the Stafford show next year. We're not quite sure on the dates yet. And I'll probably do a Facebook Live and do more chats about that as we go along. Because what I'd like to do is I'm going to do possibly a series of videos to help everybody, from ringing a chick right the way through to doing a little bit of show cage training and things. So that'd be good to see everybody there. I mean, we saw loads of people. Members came along as well to the Stafford or the Parrot Society, and it was really good. I mean, I never stopped talking. For 2 days basically. It was.
It's good though.
Yeah, and there was lots of questions, and people just didn't, know we existed. So
I honestly think the hobby breeder, pet hobby breeders, have been left out. As for the Budgie Society, I mean, they were more interested in showbirds.
That's right. Yeah.
And they got left out, and then the UK Budgie come up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a revelation, isn't it?
Let's hope so. Let's hope
so.
I
mean, everybody can join in, whether you've got one budgie, 20, 30, 300 budgies.
Yeah,
you're always going to learn something.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I think we've probably talked for hours, but it's getting hot. But and Doug earlier on presented me with a little fridge magnet that he's made. So thank you very much. And he's done it as a half-sider. So a pretty rare budgie. You can't actually breed half-siders, but they do exist. So yeah, thank you very much, Doug. And it's been lovely coming over here and seeing your setup.
Thank you.
I've just got a lot of editing to do now, and that'll be fun.
Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed it, and I'm glad you enjoyed having you.
Yeah, well, that's
at least it shows you what pet budgie breeders can achieve.
Yeah,
I mean, whether it be a big house with 300 breeding cages to 6 or 8 breeding cages.
So it doesn't have to be a chore. It's got to be a hobby. And
it has to be a hobby. And as long as your birds are healthy and looked after, you should have no problems.
No, that's it.
When you start to get problems, then it's time to pack up.
Yeah.
I think anyway.
Or seek advice.
Or at least seek advice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of us out there to give you advice. Whether you take it on board or not, it's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
But always remember, always have an avian vet.
Yeah, that's it.
Always have an avian vet.
We can give advice on how to keep a bird going till you get to a vet, but the vet is the ultimate destination for any sick budgie.
And I always say, please people, when you get a new budgie, quarantine, quarantine, quarantine. Don't take the risk of putting a brand new budgie in with the ones you have, because if they become ill, you're going to be sorry.
Yeah.
Please, quarantine your birds. You know, even if it's from a breeder, from Neil, from me, although we do look after our birds, all their welfare as well, always quarantine. Even if it's for a couple of weeks, just make sure that that bird is healthy before it goes in with yours.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Brilliant bit of advice. Lovely. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Neil.
Doug. We'll finish it there. Lovely.
Thank you.